let's say you're looking back at your 18-year-old self. What would you do different? What is some advice you would give someone who's trying to start a freelance business and create a clothing brand? So I'm looking at my 18-year-old self.
Welcome to the Mindset Design Podcast with your host, Arlin Moore. In this podcast, the hope is to provide the listener with actionable advice and inspiration to inspect their own mindset and make the changes they need to achieve success and fulfillment in their own life. If you'd like to support the show and learn more about mindset design, visit mindsetdesign.com or go to who.be/Arlin. That's hoo.be/Arlin. Or simply share an episode with a friend. That would be fire. Enjoy the show, and here's your host, Arlin.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel/podcast that I've been doing here. I am sitting in my apartment, and it is only, it's the 28th as I'm recording this, and that means I have just a few more days in this lovely apartment. And before I go into my segment of Ask Arlin, I wanted to share with you another little epiphany I had here doing my evening meditation. I was just sitting here and I was looking at those are the flowers I was talking about in the last one. And I was looking at them and I was just sitting here, but I was actually really lost in thought because this whole day, as I told you guys, I signed a lease on a house, which I'm very excited about, but I was really preoccupied because now that I've signed a lease, I also need to get a car. And because living in the Hollywood Hills, you can't not have a car. I actually have gotten away with not owning a car I'm in like the Venice Beach area right now. And you don't really need one. I've just been walking everywhere and Ubering if I need to. But in the hills, definitely going to need a car. And I've just been stressing over it a lot. And to the point where all I've been doing is thinking about it. And I've also been I've been on the edge too, thinking that I've been having way too much coffee recently. And I don't drink that much. I have like max 2 cups a day, but I still don't like to depend on anything. And I've just been having this realization that I feel like I'm having too much coffee. Anyway, I had one today and I was thinking about this car thing and I found myself just getting really lost in thought. And it was like, I was just sitting here on the couch doing my meditation. I've been thinking about this car thing all day, doing research. I don't know a lot about cars to begin with, so I'm having to learn a lot and teach myself a lot about where and how to get a nice car and the car you want and all that. And I'm just, I'm doing the research, I'm thinking about it, then I start my meditation, and I'm sitting here and my mind is just racing. And then all of a sudden, I snap out of it. And I go, hold on a second. Like 5 months ago, I was stressing out to no end about where I was going to live in LA. And it has to be the perfect apartment. And it's got to be, high ceilings. It's got to be close to the beach. It's got to have a fireplace. It's got to have a big kitchen. And I'm sitting here, I'm meditating. I just have that realization. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I talk about all the time. Enjoy the present moment. Well, maybe if I enjoy the present moment, then another present moment will come that is favorable. And what I mean by that is basically like, if I can simply enjoy what I have and what I've, been working toward to get previously, well, then maybe I'll find something that, like a car, that works. And sure enough, I sat there for the next 10, 15 minutes doing my little meditation thing here and just enjoying it and really just sitting here and being like, oh, this is nice. Like there's a fire. I got these flowers right here and, the tall ceiling. It's actually raining right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's raining and it's really peaceful. The ocean, the wind is going. It's pretty windy out here right now. And I'm just like, man, this is nice. I just enjoyed it. And then I got up and I looked at my laptop and I did one quick Google search basically. And I looked at this car, which is a Tesla Model S. And I was like, and I I was looking for one, but I couldn't find the one with the exact specs. And I was like, wait a second, this is exactly what I wanted. And so now I think I found the exact car that I'm gonna get too. And I was just like pretty happy about that. So that being said, I hope that you got something out of that little anecdote. And side note to that, on the note of coffee, coffee is amazing. I love coffee. It's probably not the best for you. In fact, I don't think anything that is actually considered a drug is probably good for you, and you shouldn't depend on anything. And I say that all the time. However, coffee, I enjoy it. I've even heard like Eckhart Tolle drinks coffee once in a while. It's not the worst thing in the world. But when you aren't using it consciously, it can definitely be a negative. So what I mean by that is like, if you wake up, what I found that coffee does is if you wake up and you have something on your mind, for example, you want to go car shopping and you drink a cup of coffee, it will be a lot harder to get out of that thought process when you have coffee, because coffee just keeps the thoughts in your mind like ruminating and just cycling throughout your mind. So like today, I was thinking about the car thing, then I had the coffee, and then it was like, boom, thought after thought after thought after thought after thought. And it was like, almost like it's putting walls around my ability to be as conscious as I wanted to be. So interesting thought. I'm probably going to do a nice 7-day coffee fast and just, get back to my Zen normal state. And then when I want to reintroduce coffee, it's only at a time when I know exactly kind of like why I might want to even introduce it. Like coffee, the effect it has on me makes me very happy, and it makes me very focused. And it makes me actually want to be social and like loving in some weird way. But so when I do introduce it, I will do that. Anyway, let's continue and pop into the podcast. But to do that, I have to pull up my questions. And to do that, I have to open my iPad Pro. And then in addition to doing that, I'm gonna need my mini little iPhone tripod thing. This is actually kind of funny because I set up a camera over there to record this podcast. But the thing is about this podcast and this video semi-vlog podcast format is like vibe is everything. And sometimes, like, let me just show you. And then I'll kind of return back here. I know if you're listening to this, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you look at, this was my setup. I don't have a tripod out here, so I got a chair, a mixing bowl, and some other things. And I was gonna, record like that and just, have that view. But no, not gonna happen. So because I just felt inspired to record it over there, and that's a little insight into how I think about recording things, All right, so we are back, and boom. All right, so let's pop into Ask Arlin. Today's first question is coming in from Mandy, and Mandy asks, hello Mandy, how are you? Mandy asks, what do you do to keep yourself motivated every day? If you have ever been in a rut, how do you deal with it? So motivation. I mean, the way that I followed is just like, it's pretty simple these days. I'm just like, all right, well, what do I want to do? And then I just do that. Like, what would I most enjoy doing right now? And then I just do that. It's not that hard to do things that you enjoy. So, I would just think about making a list. And actually, it actually is harder than you might think. And I was reflecting on this as well. Like, when you read something like 80-20 Your Life by Richard Koch, it can be, simple, but at the same time, for some reason, complicated. Because like, I'll read that book, 80-20 Your Life, and I'll be like, all right, make a list of your happiness islands, all the things that make you happy. And then you make a list and you're like, well, okay, now which 20% of these things make me more happy than the other ones? And you really have to think about it. And the more you process the ideas in the book, I think the more they resonate and like actually start to make sense. But for example, like I realized that one thing that makes me disproportionately happy, or I'll just give you a few things. One, working out with Lou. I love that. That makes me very happy. Two, I got a once a week private yoga coach. It's like, it's more affordable than you might think, but it's, I really like that. 3, eating out and also having mornings free. Those 4 things, like if I had nothing else, I feel like I'd still be really happy. Like as long as I can do my work, of course, in the afternoon, as long as my mornings are free, as long as I can eat out sometimes, like breakfast sometimes, dinner, order Uber Eats, like stress-free, and as long as I have a good yoga teacher and a good trainer, super, super, super happy. And, there's other things that I think are nice, but I don't value quite as much, that I don't really need to go into. But my point is, like, you really do need to think about what makes you happy. And even within that, like, obviously I have like work that I absolutely love. It involves this. It involves working on and building Maxi. It involves building the mentoring program that I have. I love all of it. So the way I got there was just thinking about, all right, well, what do I like doing the most? Well, I like making videos. I like talking. I like sharing and teaching. I like self-improvement. I like meditation and that kind of thing, and this whole like save the world idea. I like making videos. So I basically combine all of that, and motivation isn't a problem for me because I'm doing what I want to do all day long. So I think that's really the key, Mandy, is just finding out what you really want to do. Cool. Our next question comes from Nandish Patel. Nandish asks, how did you manage to cope with all the stress and peer pressure while you had your finals at BU? Context, how to deal with it. How did you manage to cope with all the stress and peer pressure while you had your finals at BU? This is actually, I think there's another person that asked this same question today. Where is it? Oh yeah. No, that's it. How to cope and manage all the stress and peer pressure while you had finals at BU. Okay, so I never felt that much pressure from school. I think this obviously depends on whatever your major is, because some people's major depends a lot more on their performance in their exams than others. Like I know some of my friends in the medical area at BU, they really had a lot of pressure. I was in the communications school, not Nandish. Nandish, am I saying your name? Nandish. I think it's Nandish. I was in the communication school. So I was in exactly the most difficult programs, and finals were not that stressful. In fact, a lot of the like finals for me were like, they were projects. They weren't even really like exams. So I never experienced that much pressure. And, even if I did, it was really like, I understood that, and I understand now that pressure doesn't typically make you perform better. It's more if you can enjoy the moment and just take an exam relaxed and carefree, it's easier. And how you do that is you learn about the 80-20 rule. You really start to learn what are the studying methods. Like let's say there's 5 hours of studying that you do. Which of those 5 hours do you retain and learn 80% of the information? Or is it there's going to be 1 hour out of that 5 that is highly more productive than the other 4. So you have to think about which of those hours was that, and is there any way that you could just double the time, that you eliminate 4/5, so 4 hours, only do that 1 hour of productivity, and if you want to, add another hour of doing that same thing. So now you're doing 2 hours, but you're doubling your comprehension. See what I'm saying? So for example, let's say out of 5 hours of studying, you have 1 hour of group study, 2 hours of rereading textbooks, and 1 hour of doing a practice quiz, and 1 hour of doing flashcards. And you realize that the flashcards are what led to the highest level of comprehension. Well, just don't do all the other stuff, and then just shift everything to flashcards. Boom. That was at least what I did in college, and I found it to be pretty useful. But that being said, it's hard to know exactly what exactly you're doing non-dish like in school and where the pressure's coming from. Other than that, I just recommend a lot more meditation is the answer to everything. Okay, next question comes from JP. JP says, I'm 16. I'm a sophomore in high school. My dream is to play professional golf. Awesome. You should talk to Michael Rudnick, who's in the Maxi community. I want to build a business that will bring me enough income a month to live out this dream. I want to be able to do this by the time I graduate high school so I don't have to go to college. Right now, the biggest thing holding me back is school. I hate school. I think it's a waste of time, but my parents expect me to have all A's, which stresses me out. Luckily, I'm doing virtual school because of COVID, so I have more time to practice and work on my, I can't even read the rest of this question. Oh, no, I can. Okay. I hate school and I think it's a waste of time, but my parents expect me to have all A's. Luckily, I do virtual school, so I have more time to practice and work on myself. Do you have any ideas? Whoa, hold on a second. Let's go back a little bit here. I have to do school, and when I have to do school, I get depressed and just really unhappy. My main question is, what would you do about school, and what is the best first step in starting a business, especially when you're 16? So, JP, step one, I think you already are off on the right track, and that's that you've defined an end goal. So I don't know what year you are, but if you're 16, you're probably a sophomore or junior, so you have a couple more years, which is plenty of time to get started in online business. The unfortunate thing is that I know that high school, the way it's structured, it's like almost gives you no free time, right? Because you go to school from like 8:30 or 8 a.m. to, I don't know, 3 p.m. And then you have golf practice, and then you go home and do homework, and then you do it all over again. So you almost have no time to do a business. What I'd recommend doing is asking upperclassmen, people ahead of you, what were the easiest, this sounds bad, but I would seriously ask this. I would say, what were the easiest and most enjoyable classes that you took? What were the easiest and most enjoyable classes that you took? And see if you can come up with a track for you for the next couple of years that is super easy and enjoyable and has preferably as little homework as possible. Don't be a tryhard. And your parents probably won't even know why you're selecting those classes and what how much work you're really getting. But ask upperclassmen, what are the easiest and most enjoyable classes with the least amount of homework? And you'll find them. There will be some classes that are much easier than others, and there will be some that are disproportionately way harder. Don't get in those classes. You want the classes where the teachers are the most lenient and give you the easiest grades. So find those. And then in addition to that, I'd say learn, like one thing I wish I knew in high school was I wish I meditated in high school. Meditation will help you out a lot, JP. Understand, you're 16, dude. You have a lot of time. I understand you're really dedicated to golf, but also at 16, your passions and your interests could definitely very much change over time. I have a lot of friends from high school who, when they were 16, they hated school. All they wanted to do was play professional hockey or professional lacrosse or something. And now, they don't even play the sport anymore. Or they played Division III or something, and that's it. So, I don't mean to crush your dreams. I think I'm obviously all for pursuing exactly what dream that you want. And I actually believe through your writing that you probably will play professional golf just with your determination to get there. But, you have to have your parents on your side. You have to do well in school. I think my school tip will help you. At the same time, when you're looking to start a business, hopefully, so this hopefully gives you enough free time to be able to, what I said before about picking the right classes should give you enough free time to be able to start a business. When it comes to starting a business, it's not a walk in the park. You're gonna have to work at it pretty hard, and you might not have success for a year or more. So you have to understand that, and you have to work at it every single day. What business to start at 16? There's plenty. I'd recommend considering probably the quickest one you can get into, I would say, is Shopify and drop shipping and that kind of thing. That's probably the lowest barrier to entry. and just, it's, or social media management company is something else you can do. Just keep in mind, you do need several hours a day to be working on this for the next year and more if you do want it to be profitable. It is not something that's going to happen overnight. So, really, I guess what I'm saying is you can check out social media management, you can check out Shopify, you could even consider starting like a golf coaching business, right? That might be something. You could combine your interests of golf and making money as well. And who knows, maybe you start giving younger kids golf lessons, right? But ultimately, I think the message that you need to hear right now is to really pick up a book like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is a book that I read when I was 19, and I wish I had read it when I was 15. So The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and the follow-up to the book is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I'd recommend both of those books on Audible or in print, probably Audible. If you don't have an Audible subscription, you can it's, I don't know, $15 a month. Ask your parents for it. I'm sure if they're wanting you to get straight A's, they might even pay for it for you. And I would recommend that. You get one free book a month. So I would say first 3 books you read would definitely be A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And then there's another one called Mind Gym. It's a book about how athletes use meditation and visualization practices. I think it'd be really cool for you. All right, next question is going to come in from Dallas. Thanks, JP. Good luck. Dallas asks, do you ever find yourself lacking motivation? May that be with working out or filming? And if so, do you have any tips to get past that? Do you ever have, okay, we already talked about motivation. But when it comes to working out, the thing is, Dallas, I love working out. I work out with Lou, and I love it. I love every minute of it, and I love it. So it's kind of like going back to the same thing that I said earlier. If you're lacking motivation to do something, then just don't do it. Do what you want to do, and don't do shit you don't want to do. It's that simple. It really is. Dallas, if you didn't hear the earlier answer, I think that would also apply to who asked it. Mandy. Yeah. All right, cool. Next question comes from Mikey. Mikey asks, let's say you're looking back at your 18-year-old self. What would you do different? What is some advice you would give someone who's trying to start a freelance business and create a clothing brand? So I'm looking at my 18-year-old self. I guess going into college, to be honest, there's really not much I would do differently. Freshman year, I learned so much about communication skills, and the number one thing I would do is I would literally just say hi to people. Even because no one knows each other at college. So I was just all right, well, no one knows each other. So I'm just going to go introduce myself to people. And that's how I made friends. That's how I got good with social skills and meeting people. And that was an amazing experience. So I would not do that any differently. Then I started just throwing shit at the wall. I took a lot of action. So one thing I think I would say is across 4 years, I wish I had set a bigger financial goal. That is one thing I'll say. I wish, because the goal I set is I want to have enough money to not have to do school. That's what I said, is that I want to have enough money so that I want to have enough money so that I don't have to get a job after college. I want to have a business that makes enough money to do that. I wish I had said something like, within the next 4 years, I would like to have a business that's generating $80,000 per month. That's what I wish I had asked for, straight going into college, 18 years old. I'd say in 4 years, I would like to have a business that generates $80,000 per month on autopilot, and you will be extremely amazed about what can happen in 4 years if that is your intention. And the doors that'll open up for you when you're 22 years old, you will be like, oh my God, it actually happened. I guarantee you, if anyone listening to this who's 16, 17, 18, if they set a goal by the time they're 22, which might sound old, but it really isn't, to do this, to make $80K a month, you can do it. 4 years is a lot of time that you can do stuff. And it's a very, very reachable goal. It's very, very reachable. So that is what I'd say to you, Mikey. And then advice I'd say about starting a freelance business or creating a clothing brand is really just consume yourself in it completely. Like probably pick one of those over the other, unless you're really good at building out teams and infrastructure of business. But I would say at 18, I definitely wasn't. And if you are, I'd be very surprised. I'd be impressed. But I would say pick one. Are you going to really pursue the clothing brand or whatever the freelance business actually is? And pick one and focus on that for the next 4 years with an aggressive, or not even that aggressive goal. Okay, next question's from Luke. Luke asks, asks, how do I establish myself better as a communicator in front of a large group of people? And how can I get rid of my anxiety that comes before embarrassment that comes after? So Luke, good question. I think that the main thing to understand is that you have to accept that in public speaking, you're never really going to be not nervous to get up in front of a group of people. Even I haven't spoken to a lot of people in a while, like in person. I obviously do Zoom calls several days a week with 40, 50 people on the call, like my mentoring group. But actually, it's not even that. It's like between 10 and, it's not even 40 or 50. It's between like 10 and 25 usually. But I don't get nervous during those. And I think if I were to do like a big public speaking gig with people I know a little bit less, it would be harder. But even still, the reason it's not hard for me is because I've accepted it. I've accepted that the emotions associated with public speaking are your heart starts to beat a little bit more. You maybe get a little bit sweaty, maybe you stumble over your words a little bit. I've just accepted that. And because I've accepted that, it's just become something that I've been able to move beyond. So and you can look up like people like, I know Mel Robbins talks about this, or might even be Jen Sincero. I think it's Mel Robbins. She's been public speaking in front of crowds of thousands and thousands of people for many years. And she still talks about how she gets nervous. It never goes away. It's a biological drive, biological instinct. So step one is accepting it. And then step two is just practice and repetition. Step three, which I guess would be the overlying step, is meditation. Increase the amount of time that you meditate per day, and you'll be a lot more in tune with each moment and not be as up in your head, because your head is what's going to fabricate all the bad stuff that could potentially happen when no one is even thinking that anything bad's going to happen. Even if you go up there and piss yourself, no one's going to really notice or care that much. So, I think that answer is probably pretty full. Good question. All right, next one comes from Lewis. Lewis asks, how do you stay focused on your goals while maintaining a healthy social life? So ideally, Lewis, you build a social life that actually contributes to your goals. So me, for example, who am I friends with? I'm friends with the Hoobie guys, who I'm actually, always essentially doing business in and around and with. Like, they're my friends, Jordan Casson, Bianca, Peter, right? I'm friends with them, but I'm also kind of doing business. We're in the same world. And who are my other friends? Well, Felix at Same Day Testing. Felix and I are really tight, but I actually we're looking to do a same day maxi deal. So we're kind of in business as well. Now, who else? Well, Rapta, Tony Pillow up in the Hollywood Hills. I'm going to go live near them. And we're also kind of in similar businesses as well, like content creation and stuff like that. So even more aggressively speaking, my business coach / mentor, who's actually probably the person I talk to the most, and that is a strict business relationship, but we're also friends. So I think I have friends outside of business. I have my friends from home, I have my family, but I've found, the people I talk to the most, I do business with. So ideally, the people that you are doing business with are also your friends. So you want to design it in that way. And the way you do that is you simply just define it, write it down, and then focus on making that type of relationship happen in your life. Cool. All right, next question comes in from Esther. Esther asks, I would like to thank Arlin for the consciousness expanding content he's put out for years, and ask him to clarify exercises to clarify what pursuit. Oh, we already talked about that one the other day. All right, next question comes from Kobe. Kobe asks, I have set goals for 2021, but I'm having trouble managing it. What are ways I can be winning even though I am busy with school, work, and still enjoying life? Well, I might think about totally revolutionizing what you're doing, Kobe. If you've set goals for yourself, but you're having trouble managing them, well, then your life is probably overly complicated, and you're going to have to take some massive action in order to get things in the right way, and that means probably massive elimination. I'm just guessing by reading what you wrote here, you either need to, and I don't know where you're at in school, but you really need to think about, like, why are you in school? If you have other goals outside of school, and I don't know exactly what the goals are, but what are you, like, it seems like this sentence is just riddled with you not really enjoying the life that you're building. So that's kind of step one. Like, you have to understand that whatever you're doing, even if it's not the exact thing you want to be doing, you've got to find a way to enjoy it, because joy is what you generate from within. And if you can generate joy from within and instill the joy that you feel in this moment into every activity you're doing, then you'll be able to expand that into all the other aspects of life, and joy will end up like returning back to you. So let's say, for example, you work at a restaurant and you don't want to work at a restaurant forever. Well, sit in the restaurant, show up to work, walk around the restaurant with a smile on your face. Enjoy each moment. Enjoy and accept that at this point in time, you're working at a restaurant. This is part of your story. And do the most that you can to enjoy each moment. Even if it's not externally what you want to be doing, you can always start to practice developing the internal joy. This is huge. It's kind of subtle, but if I knew that when I was a busboy at 15 and 16, a golf course caddy, I'd probably be a lot more advanced even than where I am now. So I hope that all of those questions helped. It's actually pretty late as I record this one. It's 9:25 p.m. now. I feel like we've been going for a good while. And I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And that's it. All right. If you want to ask a question, go to mindsetdesign.com/askarlin or click the link in the description to ask me a question, and I will set you up with a Maxi Success coach. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next episode.